Alright, part two of our lesson on interior angles of a polygon. We start off with a couple of more definitions. What a regular polygon is. A regular polygon is a polygon that is both equilateral and equiangular. Equilateral means all the sides are the same, and in this picture they're marked with congruent marks on the side, the little sticks. And equiangular, all the angles are the same measure inside of here. And then an irregular polygon, a polygon that is not both equiangular and equilateral. This one, it has equal angles in this rectangle. They're all 90 degrees, but the sides are not all the same. So that's called an irregular polygon. Okay, regular, all the angles and all the sides are equal. So let's look at our example 3 on, a formula on the next page. The measure of each interior angle of a regular polygon with n sides. So this is just one, not the sum of them. But if it's a regular polygon, they're all the same. So how much is each of those angles? So we start off to write a formula for this. Copy this down in there when we're all done. Each one, first we start with the sum of all of them. How much will they all add up to be? And then we're going to divide that by how many angles there are, how many sides there are. So we saw earlier the sum of all of them in an n-sided polygon is 180 times n minus 2. And then how many there are, well, that's n. So this is the formula you're going to put in here. The measure of each one, just one of them, is all of them divided by how many there are. 180 times n minus 2 divided by n. That's how we find one, the measure of one in a regular polygon where they're all the same. So we look at example 5. Find the measure of each interior angle of a regular dodecagon. So you notice the word each. It's not the sum of them all. We will have to figure out the sum and divide by how many there are. But when it says that each one of them. So a dodecagon has 12 sides, so the n will be 12 in our formula. So we take the 180 times 12 minus 2 and then divide it by how many there are, which is n, 12. And you put that in your calculator, you should get 150 degrees. You should practice that, make sure you're getting this out, that you're putting it in the calculator correctly. You can try that quick check if you want. Pause the video and then check your answer. It says find the measure of each of the interior angles of a regular convex 20gon. So each, just one of them. How much is one of them? How much is? So 20gon, we're going to take 180 times 20 minus 2 and divide by how many there are, 20 of those angles. And we'll get one of those angles should be 162 degrees, each one of them. Alrighty, example 6. Again, you can pause if I go too fast. Example 6 here, we've got if the measure of an interior angle of a regular polygon is 108 degrees. Now here they're giving us the measure of one of those angles. Find the number of sides in the polygon. So we start with our formula for finding one angle. Each angle equals 180 times n minus 2 divided by n, how many sides there are. So we know what each angle is. It tells us that the measure of an interior angle of a regular polygon is 108. So that's the angle right there. What do we want to know? The number of sides. That's the n in this formula. So there it is set up. The 108 goes where the angle is when we're trying to find the number of sides here, when we know one of them. The first step here is, I'll show it to you right here. You're actually taking, to get rid of this division, we're multiplying both sides times n. So if I multiply this side times n, it cancels out this division by n. And I have to do the same thing to this side, so I multiply this times n, I get 108 times n, or 108n. Okay, so when you're setting these up, that's always the first step, to get rid of that division and getting it looking like that. Now we're going to go ahead and use the distributive property take 180 times n. This left side stays the same for right now. We get 180n. And then we also have to multiply the 180 times the minus 2 here, and we get minus 360. Now we'll go ahead and solve for n. We got n's on both sides, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract these 180 n's over here and just get this number by itself and have the n's on the left side. So 108 minus 180 is negative 72. Over here, my 180 minus 180, that cancels out, and that leaves us with a negative 360. And now we're finished solving for n by dividing by this number. We're going to divide by negative 72. And we end up getting n equals 5. Now that's the number of sides. It shouldn't come out, you shouldn't have a decimal number. We don't have, can't have a polygon with 5.2 sides. It should come out to a nice whole number when you do this type of problems, when you're solving for the number of sides. So to recap, they gave us the measure of one angle of a regular polygon. They wanted to know how many sides. So we set up this formula where we put in the angle measure over here and we solve for n. Alright, so you got a couple more like that you can practice. The quick check, just one more. So let's see, I don't have it worked out, so I'll scribble on here and do this. You might want to pause it and see if you can set it up all by yourself and solve it. Otherwise, I will do it now. So again, if the measure of an interior angle, one of these interior angles of a regular polygon is 150, that goes right here. The 150. Alright, equals the 180 times n minus 2 divided by n. That's our formula for finding one of them, and one of them equals 150. So, like we said before, our first step is the same. We're going to multiply both sides times n, this side times n, so we get 150n. Equals 180 times n minus 2. Again, just like before, our next step is the same. We're going to use the distributive property now to multiply this out, and that even always comes out the same. So we have 150n equals 180 times n, 180n, minus what? 180 times minus 2 is still 360. And then our next step, we're still going to get rid of these 180 n's here by subtracting them. So 150 minus 180 is a negative 30 n. Equals, this goes away, don't forget the negative sign here, divided by equals the negative 360, and divide by negative 30, and we get n equals let's see, goes in there once, 12. So that was a 12-sided polygon, regular polygon that has a measure of 150 for each angle. Okay? That's it. Now you go ahead and do your practice sheets. You can work together if you want. And then just save everything in your notebook. I'll pick it up on Monday. Have a good day.